Forgiveness, forgive people. It doesn't make behavior acceptable. And I'm definitely not saying anything more than what I'm saying, so don't read into what I'm about to tell you. Forgiveness is definitely, definitely, definitely. And I'm not talking about this situation when I say this to you. I'm talking about just forgiveness. I'm talking to my daughter about forgiveness. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about any particular situation. What I'm talking about now is just generally speaking. Aside from any specific situation, I'm not even on that anymore. I'm talking about generally speaking. When you forgive someone, it doesn't necessarily mean reconciliation. It doesn't necessarily mean that, now sure, reconciliation, if that's what you want to do and that's what the other person wants to do and it's a healthy situation, then that's cool. You should want to reconcile. But, there are people in life, you know, just the world is a big place. You run into people where you have to forgive them, and sometimes you have to love people from far away. That's all I'm saying. Like with my case, my personal case, with people, it's not that I don't hate anyone, but sometimes you have to just love people from far away. You know, and that means pray for them or whatever. You know, so it is what it is. But as far as forgiveness goes, forgive people. Forgive people. Don't condone anybody's behavior. Don't do that. But, forgive. You have to forgive. We have to. And we should want to. We should definitely want to. You know. But forgiveness does not mean that you're weak. It does not mean that the other person is right. A lot of people don't want to forgive because they feel that, well, if I forgive this person, then it means that I'm just basically saying that I made a mistake, and I'm giving the other person the impression that maybe you are giving the other. I'm just gonna be honest with you. There's people out there that don't know how to handle being forgiven. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. Some people you're gonna have to forgive some people in life, Mackenzie, and that's going to involve people kind of being prideful about it. I'm not saying everybody's like that. Some people can handle forgiveness, but some people, really, really, really need to be, everybody needs to be forgiven, but, so that's basically what I'm trying to say. I don't want to sit here and go on and on and on about it, but forgiveness is definitely important. So I don't want to see, anyone, especially my daughter, you know. So I just wanted to say that really quick. Forgive people. Don't ever think it's weak, or don't ever think it's underhanded, or don't ever think that you're shorting yourself or anything. Nobody ever has a right to hurt anyone, even if it's justified. And I know a lot of times it's easier said than done, but leave it in God's hands. It doesn't mean that you have to internalize everything. It doesn't mean that you have to just take a beating from people and not stick up for yourself. Absolutely not. But you can still be assertive, and get your feelings hurt, but at the same time, you still have to forgive people. And forgiving people is not about letting them off the hook. It's about letting yourself off the hook, setting yourself free. Because when you remain in a state of unforgiveness, then whether you want to believe it or not, you think you're holding something over somebody else, hang on for a minute. You think you're holding something over somebody's head when in reality, they got you. When you're in a state of unforgiveness, that person has control over you. Because you're thinking about that person. You're thinking about maybe not the person, but the circumstance or the situation. And does that person even really care that they hurt you? No, absolutely not. That person is out there. Now, will there be consequences? Oh, yeah. You can't just go around hurting people for no reason. Even if there is a reason. There's never a reason to retaliate on anyone. We're not called to retaliate. We're called to forgive. And, God knows that forgiveness is tough for people, because the Bible says 70 times 7. Obviously, that means just keep forgiving over and over and over again, because forgiveness can be a process. And most of the time it is. There's a difference between somebody, spilling a drink on your carpet and forgiving them versus somebody doing something horrible to you, especially if it's unwarranted. That's going to be a process, and it could be a grueling one, but it's a worthwhile one because, it's healthy, and you never want to and there's going to be people in this world that will hurt you because they know that if they hurt you, then they have control over you. There's people out here in this world that hurt you purposely because they know that once they hurt you, they have control over you. Like, that's common sense. Unforgiveness makes no sense. Now, it's hard. It can be very, very hard to forgive somebody, but to remain in a state of unforgiveness because of pride and, well, I got something to hold, that's exactly what the other person wants you to do. The other person wants you to stay in a state of anger and anguish and unforgiveness and resentment, because you think that you're kind of getting, you think that you have something to hold over somebody else's head, when in reality, they're not even thinking about you or what they did. You're sitting over here, thinking that you got something on somebody, when in reality, they got something on you. Because it is what it is. So you just got to let stuff go. You just got to let stuff go. And once you let it go, forgiveness is a choice. And so a lot of times it's a choice that we have to repeatedly make over and over and over and over. And God knows this. He knows it. It's a cycle. And some cycles are longer than other ones, depending on the offense. But God is a just God, and God sees everything, So, just forgive your enemies, and, this might sound, fake or whatever, but hey, pray for them. You don't have to sit there and beat and love somebody to pray for them. They're people, and to go around and hurt people, and people do it every day, and that's not normal to hurt somebody just because you're miserable and to try to bring them down or whatever the circumstance is. To do something to somebody and so that's not normal to do something like that. So people like that need prayer. You got to pray for those people. In a world full of people who, so, the world's a beautiful place, and a lot of people are awesome people. I'm definitely not trying to be a downer on it. Definitely not. There's a lot of awesome people out there, but there are some people out there, who will surprise you, and some more than others, very much so. So when that happens, it can be a sucker punch, and sometimes it could be a hard one. It could be a sucker punch to the jaw, to the gut, or even worse if you're a dude below the waist, So, but forgiveness is very, very important, and, things, so, and it's healthy. It's healthy for you. It's healthy for your soul. It's healthy for your spirit. It's healthy for your relationship with God. It's healthy for your body, because unforgiveness, you hold all that, you hold all that in. You can get sickness and cancer, and it's just like, so it's just all around healthy to do it. So it's very, very, and it's not impossible. It's a choice. It's a choice. Now, forgiveness is not a feeling. Feelings will follow forgiveness. A lot of times hurt doesn't get shut off right away. It's not like flipping a switch. Forgiveness is just admitting to yourself, that, look, just being honest with you, with God, pretty much, be honest with him and just explain the situation and just say, I'll let it go. And you probably have to let it go a lot of times. But the more and more you let it go, the easier and easier and easier it gets. And when you learn to let stuff go like that, your life, everything around you will kind of fall into place slowly. And you're healthier for it, and your mind is more free, because you're not being held captive by somebody else's filth. So I'm just saying this stuff to you because I care, and I don't want to, I know that there's going to be some things in life that you're going to probably have to you're going to probably have to face. There's going to be there's people out here that aren't going to be too nice to you, and there's going to be people out here that are going to be nice to you, but then they're going to take the mask off, and then it's going to be a different story, and then they're really going to hurt you, and I'm not saying everyone's like that, not saying that. I'm talking about the people that are, though. So don't twist my words, and don't get what I'm saying, don't confuse like what I'm telling you. Like, I'm not looking out there and saying the world is filled with animals just waiting to devour, you or anyone else. Not at all. There's some good people out there, some trustworthy people, but there's a lot of people out there that come across trustworthy and come across as something that they're not. So you have to use discernment, but at the same time, again, just learn to forgive and lean on God for it. Lean on God for it. You got a whole God up there that wants to help you out, that created you so you could have a relationship with him. And he will take care of you. So I just wanted to say that. That's all. And again, forgiveness does not mean that you have to reconcile with the person. Forgiveness can mean that you just forgive. That's another reason why people don't want to forgive, because they think forgiveness is walking up to somebody and giving them a hug and shaking their hand. No, forgiveness, like some people, you just can't do that because you hate the person. No, absolutely not. It's because, they're just not healthy to be around. Some people are just not healthy people. They're just not. It's kind of like, let's say you have an abusive uncle, let's just say. Not you particular, just anybody in general. An abusive family member or uncle or something. And the dude abuses you in some way. You still have to forgive this person because it's an offense. Obviously, you didn't deserve it because nobody deserves to be abused, but you still have to forgive that person. But it doesn't mean you have to sit there and go to their house for Christmas and no, absolutely not. You could still forgive somebody, but keep your distance. And it doesn't mean that you hate the person either or you have anything, it's a process. But nonetheless, it doesn't always mean that you have to be buddy-buddy with the person either. In a lot of cases, sure, that happens. Reconciliation happens, and that's good. But it's not what we have to do. We're called to forgive, not to reconcile in all cases. So I just wanted to talk to you about that for a few minutes or however long it was, and because I thought it was very, very important for me to touch on that because you're my daughter and I want to see you live a healthy life. And I want to see you, live a life that's, full of forgiveness and, so I don't want to see you, be angry, like walk around angry like a lot of people in this world, So, all right, well, let's carry on with what this is 2 Samuel 22. Let me see here. Verses 29 and 31. Verses 29 and 31. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of tired. I'm just like, it's going on 11 o'clock. I'm pretty tired. Alright. What? And plus, this lighting in here is kind of weird. It's kind of wacky. As you can see, it's not a very good picture. It's kind of fuzzy because of the lighting. But, and plus my phone is, I need a new phone, so that might be, I don't think that's it. I think it's pretty much the lighting. But, yeah, okay, this is, 2 Samuel, chapter 22, verses 29 through 31. So, and they read, let me see here. Oh Lord, you are my light. Yes, Lord, you light up my darkness. And then verse 30 says, in your strength I can crush an army. Wait a minute. Is that what it says? Okay. In your strength I can crush an army. With my God I can scale any wall. And then verse 31 says, as for God, his way is perfect. All the Lord's promises prove true. He is a shield for all who look to him for protection. Alright, so I guess those verses pretty much speak for themselves. I mean, again, I'd have to go and look through the chapters and really get a good feel for Oh boy. Oh man. Ugh.